And you know, you use the word action there a lot in explaining your response to this issue around optimism. And one of the things I like to share with you is 3 actions that how you can practice optimism. Because there are 3. Now these are not my theories. This comes from a guy called Martin Seligman, theory of learned optimism. And Martin came up with 3 frameworks that help us to exercise optimism at times when we need it. And the first one is this idea of permanence. You know, we all know this COVID crisis that we're currently in at the moment, and maybe tapering out towards a final point, it's not going to last forever. No. You know, it's not going to last. It's not permanent. So one of the things you can say to yourself when you're actually in a difficult crisis period is just simply say to yourself, this is not going to last forever. This is not going to last forever. The second point that you can do is this is around pervasiveness. In other words, COVID-19 is not going to change everything in my life. You know, when you're in a difficult situation, you know how we live our lives in different domains. We've got our work, we've got our family, we've got our maybe personal health and fitness, and we've got other areas. Maybe particularly in this region, we've got religion as one of the domains of life in which we live ourselves. You know, COVID has not invaded every one of those domains. There are some domains we've managed to keep it out. Particularly when we're home, COVID doesn't exist.
No.
Right? So when we go out, put a mask on, put our gloves on, and enter into public spaces that we know it's there. So one of the things we need to be careful about is saying, "Oh, this is all encompassing," but it's not. It's basically only when we go out. When we're at home with our family and our friends, you know, it's not there. It doesn't exist. So, and the third one is really about effort. It's called the framework is called personalization, and basically is with a little bit of effort, you can actually make the change towards that optimistic outcome that you envisaged. And I think it speaks to what you said before. If you ignore action, if you don't engage yourself in optimistic behaviors and solution seeking, then yes, you will definitely end up achieving nothing. But with effort and focus and energy, yes, you can. Yes, you can definitely make a difference. So those 3 mantras, I think, are really, really important. So I'm going to repeat them again because I think our audience would need to practice these. Even though we seem to be coming out at the back end of the crisis, their curve is flattening down. But let's think about these for, you know, a lot of people are saying this is not going to be the only time we're going to be struck with the virus at this scale. So, you know, there could be others. There was SARS and there was SARS before. We've had COVID. Who knows what's coming up?
Yeah.
And also people are grappling with financial difficulties. A lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of people have lost business. You know, our businesses suffered over this crisis period. So, you know, we've got other things coming up that we need to be able to exercise optimism to just move aside anxiety. Okay, move it aside. So here's the 3 things you think about. Number 1, this will not last forever. Number 2, this is not changing everything. And number 3, my effort will make a difference.
Well, I've just made note of those as well. Yeah, again, all relevant, and you know, each one, you know, on a standalone basis are extremely powerful. But you know, when you combine all 3 together, wow, there's a great sequence there for, you know, I guess, intentional optimism.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I use that word intentional because, you know, again, going back to the great work of Dr. Wayne Dyer from his book, you know, the power of intention, getting up and having an intention of what we want to achieve each and every day. You know, if we look at our big plan, the bigger picture, whatever we are looking to achieve as a goal, when we start to break those down into, you know, bite-sized chunks, all of a sudden we've got a plan, so we know what our intention is. But if we get up every day with an intention of fulfilling those duties for this part of the plan, we start to move closer, I guess, realizing that outcome the way that we would like it to be achieved. And as we get ever closer, we'll start to see those results taking shape. We'll then go back and reinforce our self-belief that actually we're doing well. We are on track, or we're ahead of the curve in terms of our objective and how our timeline is meeting that objective. So it's about the power of intention.
Exactly right. And that's why we need to move away from, instead of saying this is not going to last forever, we can't think about this being permanent. In terms of it's invaded all our lives, we can't think that COVID has invaded all our lives. It's pervasive, it's everywhere, but it's not. And the last thing about our effort making a difference, we can't think that that we are powerless. We have power. Our power is our thoughts that leads into emotions and flow into behaviors and action. So moving away from those 3 Ps, permanent, pervasiveness, and powerlessness, towards this is not going to last forever, this is not changing everything, and my effort will make a difference, enables the kind of scenario that you've just explained. So when you get up in the morning and you're feeling those 3 Ps of permanence and powerlessness, shifting yourself by basically verbalizing these thoughts. This will not last forever. This is not changing everything. My effort will make a difference. Will help to construct the day that you want, which is a day of purpose and direction.
Yeah. And again, some powerful advice there, but these statements or affirmations you want to make to yourself, making them several times a day is going to help as well, because that will again reinforce the positivity within you that creates that optimism that you're
Yeah, sure, because you're quite right, Darren. Getting up in the morning, often morning times are sometimes difficult because your brain has processed yesterday's events, and if there's things that you're holding on to, particularly unhelpful beliefs, they will pop up again in the morning. So you're right, during the morning and during the day, you have to just keep these mantras front and center. One thing we need to be better at, we need to notice ourselves when we're starting to slip down from those high plateaus of optimism, direction, and purpose. So I think one of the things I would probably leave as a thought is, those 3 mantras that I've repeated a lot during this talk today should be uttered once you notice yourself slipping, slipping downwards from those sunny heights of optimism and purpose and action, and that they should bring you back up and stop the rot.
And again, depending on the individual, those metrics for each of those categories you just outlined could be different. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, absolutely. It's about, again, we've talked a lot about this in terms of self-awareness, knowing yourself and knowing what your parameters are and your boundaries are, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and knowing when you need to talk. That self-talk needs to come in to help you and to give you support.
Yeah, brilliant. Peter, as always, it's fascinating speaking with you on any given subject, and thank you for all that you shared today. And let's hope that we have managed to help somebody to be more optimistic and be more proactive in developing their optimism.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks for the opportunity.